Good day everyone. So this recording po is about the discussion ng mga problems na wala pong choices doon sa chapter 23, which is property, plant, and equipment. So ulitin ko, no, for this is only for those problems na wala pong choices. So yung mga journal entries, yung mga hinihingi, ganyan. And so let us start with problem 23-4. So ang requirement sa problem 23-4 is to prepare the journal entries to record the transactions for the current year. So medyo lakihan ko lang ng konti. So Tower Company had the following property acquisitions during the current year. So gagawa lang po tayo ng journal entry para sa mga transactions na to. So dito sa right side ng screen natin, nandito yung ating spreadsheet. Diyan po natin isusulat yung mga magiging sagot natin. Yan. So, number 1, acquired assets with the following fair value. So, bumili daw ng mga land, building, and machinery. Tapos, itong tatlong po na yan, 1 million, 5 million, and 2 million respectively. Ayan yung kanilang fair value. So, ano ang naging way or mode of acquisition ng land, building, and machinery? Sabi dito, nag-issue daw ng 60,000 shares with 100 pesos par value and 150 pesos quoted price in exchange for these assets. So ito ay acquisition ng property, plant, and equipment through issuance of shares. So kapag issuance of shares, kailangan maalala natin na meron tayong tatlong priority at yung unang priority doon is the fair value of the assets. So yung fair value ng assets na binili natin, ayun yung first priority. Kapag wala si fair value ng assets, doon tayo pupunta sa fair value ng shares. If walang fair value ng shares, saka lang tayo pupunta sa par value ng shares natin. Since nandito yung ating first priority, which is yung fair value po ng assets natin, dyan tayo magbabase. So, lagay natin dito, problem 23-4. So, mag-base tayo sa fair value ng shares, sa fair value ng assets because that is our first priority. So, for number 1, since wala pong date na inilagay, no? So, number na lang din yung ilalagay natin. So, debit tayo ng land for its corresponding fair value, which is 1 million pesos. Tapos, ayusin ko lang to. Debit din natin yung building para sa kanyang fair value, 5 million pesos, and debit din natin si machinery for its fair value na 2 million pesos. So, ulitin ko yung fair value po ng assets yung pinagbisa natin kasi ayun yung first priority kapag issuance ng shares ang mode of acquisition. So, i-total lang natin tong tatlong to, plus mo lang yan, 1 million, 5 million, and 2 million. Ibig sabihin, yung total ng value ng shares na in-issue natin should be equal to 8 million. Tapos, since issuance ng shares nga po ito, credit tayo sa share capital. So, kapag sa share capital ka nagkikredit, dapat always at par lang siya. Kaya yung 60,000 shares, multiply mo lang sa 100 pesos na par value. So, kuha lang tayo ng calculator dito. So, 60,000 shares, multiply mo sa 100 pesos na par value, that is 6 million pesos. So, ayun yung i-credit natin. 6 million. Tapos, yung sobra, yung excess, kasi nga 8 million yung total value ng assets na nabili natin. So, 8 million minus natin yung nakakredit sa share capital na 6 million, ang mapupunta po sa share premium ay 2 million. Kasi si share premium, di ba, taga-salo lang naman siya if ever merong excess. So, dito yung 2 million. Excuse me, ayan. So, that is our journal entry for number 1. Next po, number 2. Acquired a tract of land in exchange for 50,000 ordinary shares with 100 pesos par value and a market price of 120 pesos per share on the date of the acquisition. So, the last property tax bill indicated assessed value of 4,500,000 for the land. Ayan. So, bumili ng land, tapos nag-issue ulit ng shares in exchange doon sa land. So, same yung order ng priority. First is the fair value of the land. So, you have to check meron bang fair value yung land natin? Wala po. Iba si assessed value kay fair value. Si assessed value kasi more on for tax purposes siya. So, madalas, iba siya dun sa tinutukoy talaga natin sa fair value. When we say kasi fair value, ito yung halaga kung saan mabebenta natin yung asset natin at matatanggap din siya nung buyer. Kumbaga, merong meeting of the minds yung buyer and seller sa presyo, sa halaga nung land. Ayun si fair value. Ito kasing si assessed value, more on for tax purposes po siya. So, hindi itong 4,500,000 because that is not the fair value of the land. So, kung walang fair value yung asset, punta tayo sa second priority natin, which is the fair value of the shares. So, meron bang fair value si share? Meron po. Yung market price na 120 pesos. So, ibig sabihin, dyan tayo magbabase para makuha yung halaga ng land natin. So, yung land natin, ibe-base natin sa fair value ng shares kasi walang fair value yung land. Kaya 50,000 shares multiply mo sa market price na 120 pesos per share. So 50,000 times 120, that is 6 million. Yan. Tapos credit ulit tayo sa share capital dahil nga ito ay issuance ng shares din. So 50,000 shares ang in-issue tapos ang par value niya is still 100 pesos. So, 50,000 times 100 pesos. Ulitin ko po, kapag ka nagkikredit ka sa share capital, always at par lang yan. So, 50,000 multiplied by 100 pesos, that is 5 million. Tapos yung tira, yung excess, dito natin lalagay sa share premium. So, yung 6 million na total ng land, minus mo yung 5 million na nakakredit sa share capital, ang mapupunta sa share premium ay 1 million pesos. Ayan. So, that is the journal entry for number 2. Next, number 3, received land from a major shareholder as an endorsement to locate a plant in the city. So, ito natanggap natin yung land galing sa isang major shareholder. Ibig sabihin, parang donation po siya. So, no payment was required, but the entity paid 50,000 for legal expenses for land transfer. So, the land is fairly valued at 1 million pesos. So, sabi nga natin, kapag ka donation, ibig sabihin, makukuha mo yung property pero wala kang ibibigay na compensation. Kumbaga, gratuitous po siya. So, yung fair value ng land na natanggap natin from the major shareholder is 1 million. Tapos, meron tayong 50,000 na binayaran for legal expenses. So, sabi natin, kapag sa shareholder nanggaling yung donation, dapat ay i-credit mo siya sa donated capital. So, yung fair value ng property na natanggap mo, credit mo muna sa donated capital. So, parang ganito. So, debit ka ng land sa fair value niya, 1 million, and since donation siya from a major shareholder, credit ka sa donated capital for also 1 million pesos. And sabi po natin, sabi dun sa standards natin, yung napag-aralan natin the other day, na kapag ka dito sa donation na to from a major shareholder ay meron kang ginastos in connection doon sa donation na natanggap mo, in this case, meron kang 50,000 na nagastos for legal expenses in connection doon sa land na natanggap natin para matransfer yung titulo papunta sa pangalan ng kumpanya, dapat yung mga ganitong klaseng expenses ay ibawas natin sa donated capital. So, yung 50,000 na to na nagastos for legal expenses should be deducted to donated capital. So, babawasan natin to si donated capital. Paano? Debit mo siya. Kasi ang normal balance ng donated capital ay credit. So, i-debit mo yan. Debit ka ng donated capital, 50,000, para mabawasan siya. Tapos, credit ka ng cash kasi nga, nagbayad ka. So, dapat mababawasan yung cash mo. So, credit ka ng cash, 50,000. Ayan. So, that is the journal entry for number 3. Next, number 4. purchase for 5,400,000 including appraiser fee of 50,000. So inclusive na yan, no, yung appraiser fee na 50,000. Ibig sabihin kasama na siya sa 5,400,000. Si appraiser fee naman, directly attributable cost din siya. Ibig sabihin capitalizable talaga siya sa cost ng PPE natin. So hindi natin kailangan alisin si 50,000 kasi included na siya kay 5,400,000. So the land had an appraised value of 2 million and an original cost of 1,400,000. So the building has an appraised value of 3 million and an original cost of 2,800,000. So ang binigay sa atin is the appraised value at saka yung original cost. Appraised value based doon sa assessment ng appraiser natin. Kumbaga si appraiser siya yung magde-determine magkano yung halaga ng property. So, appraised value yon. Si original cost, magkano siya originally na bili or magkano siya originally na construct. So, out of these two, appraised value and original cost, mas mainam kung magbe-base po tayo or mas appropriate kung magbe-base po tayo sa appraised value. Kasi 'di ba, ang pinaka-term na ginagamit natin nung discussion is fair value. So dito in this case, appraised value po yung gagamitin natin. Ayan. So paghatiin natin si 5,400,000 between the land and the building using their appraised value. So ipo-proportion lang naman natin siya, no? So number 4, may mapupunta kay land, may mapupunta kay building. So si land ay 2 million, ang appraised value, si building naman ay 3 million. So, ang pinaka-total niyan, 2 million plus 3 million, that is 5 million. So, dito ko na lang ilalagay yung computation. So, para makuha natin yung mapupunta kay land, yung total basket price or lump sum price na 5,400,000 times 2 over 5 or times 2 million divided by 5 million. So, 2 over 5 na lang. Alisin na natin yung mga zero. Kay building din po, ganon, yung lump sum price na 5,400,000 times 3 over 5. So, bakit 3 over 5 kay building? Kasi 3 million yung kanyang appraised value. Yung 5, ayun yung total nilang dalawa. So, compute natin how much will be allocated to the land. 5,400,000 times 2 over 5. That is 2,160,000. Then, 5,400,000 times 3 over 5. That is 3,240,000. Tapos, credit natin siya kay cash. Kasi wala naman sinabing on account, no? Wala naman sinabing utang. So, cash ang binayad natin. 5,400,000. Yan. So, that is the journal entry for number 4. Lastly, for this problem is number 5. Purchase an office building and the land on which it is located for 7,500,000. Cash and assumed an existing mortgage of 2,500,000. So, ito cash is 7.5 million, tapos may mortgage pang kasama na 2.5 million. So, for realty tax purposes, the property is assessed at 9,600,000, 60% of which is allocated to the building. Ayan. So, dito naman, ayan. So, kapag pinopost ko, umuubo-ubo lang ako noon, no? So, dito naman kay number 5, yung binigay naman sa atin is the assessed value. Tapos, sa assessed value daw na to, nung real properties, nung office building at saka nung land, pinagsama na, ang assessed value daw nila is 9,600,000. Tapos 60% daw is allocated to the building, which means 40% ay mapupunta kay land. So po pwedeng yung proportion na lang yung gamitin natin. Ito na yung mismong fraction na binigay sa atin. So di ba walang fair value, pero merong assessed value, ibig sabihin ayan na po yung gamitin natin para sa allocation ng price. So ang total lump sum price natin is yung cash payment na 7,500,000 plus pa natin yung mortgage na 2,500,000. So, yung total lump sum price natin would be 10 million. So, paghatiin lang ulit natin sila. So, kay land at saka kay building. So, kay land po ay 40% kasi 60% daw ay allocated sa building. So, kay land, 40%. So, yung 10 million na total lump sum price, multiply mo na lang sa 40%. Kay building, yung 10 million na total lump sum price, multiply mo na lang sa 60%. Yan. So, 4 million kay land, 6 million kay building. Tapos, sa credit natin, meron tayong cash payment na 7,500,000. Tapos, meron tayong mortgage payable na 2,500,000. Ayan. So, that's it. Ayun po yung sagot for problem 23-4. Madali lang siya, di ba? So, let's move forward to problem 23-5. So, for problem 23-5, ayan, wala ulit siyang pagpipilian. At ang requirement niya po sa atin is to prepare the journal entries to record the machinery acquisitions and the related interest. So, kasama daw no yung interest na babayaran. So, start tayo with number 1. So, Anson Company had the following machinery acquisitions during the current year. So, nag-acquire daw tayo ng machine at an invoice price of 3 million subject to a 5% cash discount which was taken. So, meron tayong acquisition ng machinery on account, utang ito, tapos meron siyang 5% na cash discount at yung 5% na cash discount na to ay tinake daw po natin. Ibig sabihin, nagbayad tayo within the discount period. Tapos, meron din tayong freight and insurance during shipment. Ibig sabihin, habang papunta sa atin yung ating machinery, which cost 50,000, tsaka installation costs which amounts to 200,000. So, etong freight and insurance at tsaka installation costs, they are capitalizable po sa cost ng machinery. Kasi kasama yan doon sa directly attributable cost. So, ang una muna nating i-journalize dito, yung sa on-account na acquisition ng machinery. So, dun sa invoice price niya. So, debit tayo ng machinery para sa kanyang invoice price na 3 million. And since on-account to, kaya natin nasabing on-account kasi merong cash discount na consideration. Credit tayo sa accounts payable. 3 million. Tapos sabi, nakapagbayad daw within the discount period kasi na-avail daw or na-take yung 5% na discount. So, bayaran din natin si accounts payable. So, bayaran mo si accounts payable. Tapos, magkakaroon ka ng deduction sa cost ng machinery. Kasi sabi natin, di ba, kapag merong cash discount, whether it is taken or not, it should be deducted from the cost of the property, plant, and equipment. So, dapat mabawasan si cost ng machinery. So, para mangyari yun, credit mo siya. So, 3 million pesos, multiply mo sa 5% na cash discount para makuha mo magkano ang mababawas. So, 3 million times 0.05, that is 150,000. So, ibig sabihin, mababawasan yung babayaran nating cash. 3 million minus yung discount na 150,000. Ang cash payment na lang po natin would be 2,850,000. So, cash. 2,850,000. And, sabi rin po dito, nagbayad ng freight and insurance tsaka installation. Both of this po ay capitalizable to the cost of the machinery. Ibig sabihin, idadagdag natin siya sa cost ng machinery natin. So, parehas, no? Si 50,000 at saka yung 250,000 na installation cost. So, 200,000 lang pala si installation cost, sorry. Yan. So, 250,000 ang total. Tapos, credit sa cash kasi nagbayad tayo. Ayan. So, ang total cost ng machinery natin kay number 1, total cost ni machinery kay number 1, eto, si 3 million. Pag may debit, ipa-plus lang natin pag naka-credit minus, no? So, kung tatanungin ka, how much is the total cost of the machinery? So, 3 million na una. Tapos, babawasan ng cash discount na 150,000 kasi naka-credit. So, bawas yon. tapos plus pa ng freight and insurance, tsaka installation cost na 250,000. So, ibig sabihin, 3,100,000 yung total cost ng machinery natin for number 1. So, if ever na itatanong po yun sa inyo, sa mga multiple choice or problem solving. Yan. So, pasensya na sa ubo-ubo ko, no? Dahil hinihika pa rin ang ate mong girl. Ayan. So, number 2 na tayo. Acquired a machine with an invoice price of 3 million subject to a cash discount of 10% which was not taken. So ito, bumili ulit ng machinery, meron uling cash discount. Ang kaibahan, hindi na-take or hindi na-avail yung cash discount. Tapos, naka-incur din daw po yung entity ng 50,000 in removing the old machine prior to the installation of the new machine. The machine supplies were acquired at a cost of 150,000. So, katulad nung ginawa natin kanina, for number 2, record muna natin yung pag-purchase ng machine on account. So, ang invoice price ay 3 million. So, katulad kanina, debit machinery, 3 million. Credit ng accounts payable, 3 million. Yan. Tapos, this time, the cash discount was not taken. So, hindi daw na-take si cash discount. However, sabi nga natin, whether the cash discount is taken or not, it should be deducted from the cost of the property, plant, and equipment. So, kapag binayaran natin si accounts payable, so, debit natin siya, si accounts payable since babayaran natin. Since hindi na-take si cash discount, magkakaroon ka ng account title na purchase discount loss. So, si purchase discount loss, ito yung 3 million multiply sa 10% na cash discount. So, 3 million times 10%, 300,000. Tapos, since hindi mo na-take si cash discount, yung buong 3 million yung babayaran natin sa cash. Tapos, sabi nga natin, kahit hindi na-take si cash discount, madededuct pa rin siya sa cost ng machinery. Kaya meron ka pa rin credit dito na machinery. Kasi, whether the cash discount is taken or not, it should be deducted from the cost of the machinery. Yan. Tapos, meron pa tayong additional 50,000 daw po na cost ng removing the old machine prior to the installation of the new one. So, this is not capitalizable, no? Magiging part siya ng loss natin. So, magkakaroon tayo ng loss to or loss on retirement of old machine. 50,000 pesos. Tapos sabi din, bumili ng machine supplies. Si machine supplies, hindi rin siya capitalizable sa cost ng machine. Magiging part siya ng supplies natin or part siya ng inventory natin. So, para siyang mga spare parts, ganon. Hindi naman sinabi na major spare parts. So, sabi lang machine supplies. Ibig sabihin, pagka nagkaroon ng sira, nagkaroon ng pangangailangan, dito natin kukuhanin. So, hindi siya makakapitalize sa cost ng machine. Sa inventory siya or sa supplies siya. So, pwede natin gamitin na account title, spare parts inventory. So, nasa asset pa natin siya hanggang hindi natin nagagamit. Once nagamit na, magiging expense outright po siya. Tapos, credit tayo sa cash. Since binayaran natin yan parehas, 200,000 ang total. Then, number 3. During the early part of the current year, the entity purchased machine for 500,000 down and 4 monthly installments of 1,250,000. So, the cash price of the machine was 4,700,000. So, in this case po, meron tayong binili na machine, tapos installment siya. Nag-down tayo ng 500,000, tapos meron siyang installment na 1,250,000. Tapos yung cash price daw ng machine natin is 4,700,000. Diba sabi natin, kapag installment yung acquisition ng PPE, pag meron siyang cash price, kung ano yung cash price, ayun na yung cost ng PPE. Since dito, meron given sa atin na cash price which is yung 4,700,000, ibig sabihin, dyan na natin ikokos yung machinery natin. So, dyan mo na ide-debit si machinery, 4,700,000. Kasi merong cash price na ibinigay sa atin. Tapos sabi, nag-down daw tayo ng 500,000, ibig sabihin meron tayong cash na ilalabas na 500,000. And then, 4 monthly installments of 1,250,000. Magkano yon sa total? 1,250,000 times 4. So that ang total niya is 5 million. So ilagay natin siya sa payable or notes payable. So credit tayo ng notes payable. 5 million. Yan. So ikukumpara natin yan kasi hindi magbabalanse no, yung ating journal entry. So yung difference doon sa cash price ng machinery at saka sa total consideration na binayaran natin would be equal doon sa interest na dapat po nating or interest na anong tawag dito? Nakalagay impliedly doon sa notes payable natin. So, pa-plus mo lang yan si cash, si down payment na 500,000 at saka yung notes payable na 5 million. Tapos, ikumpara mo siya doon sa cash price na 4,700,000. Ibig sabihin, yung implied interest doon sa notes natin is 800,000. So, interest expense, 800,000. So, ulitin ko, no? Plus mo lang ito si cash, saka si notes payable, tapos minus mo yung cash price ng machinery, makukuha mo na yung interest expense natin na 800,000. So, ma'am, bakit po sa interest expense na siya nilagay? Hindi po sa discount, kasi di ba ayun yung natutunan natin nung nakaraan. Discount on notes payable, bakit hindi ganyan? Kasi po ito ay for monthly installments. Ibig sabihin, monthly lang siya, hindi naman siya annually. So, ang ginagawa natin is nagjo-journalize tayo for the whole year. Ibig sabihin, within that year, magiging interest expense din naman siya. So, idiretso na lang natin siya sa interest expense. Kasi, sa buong taon na yon, since 4 months lang naman siya, magiging interest expense din siya. Parang magiging matrabaho pa kung magdi-discount pa tayo tapos i-amortize pa natin siya monthly. Kasi nga, effective naman din siya for the whole year. Dahil ito po ay 4 monthly installments. Hindi naman 4 annual installments. So, within 4 months lang, bayad na, diretso mo na siya sa interest expense. So, dahil nga within 4 months lang din, mababayaran na siya, ibig sabihin, for the whole year, mawawala na din si notes payable. So, madedebit mo na din si notes payable, 5 million, yung lahat ng yan, tapos credit ng cash for also 5 million. So, kasi kung gagawin natin monthly, no, debit, notes payable, credit, cash, 1,250 sa unang buwan. Sa pangalawang buwan, debit, notes payable, 1,250, credit, cash, 1,250. So, 4 times mo siyang gagawin monthly. And nagjo-journalize naman tayo ngayon, parang panglahatan na ganun. Kaya pwede mo na siyang idiretso sa notes payable tsaka cash 5 million. Kasi magre-reflect naman siya for the whole year. So sana nagigets yung point, no, na kasi nga monthly lang ito. Ibig sabihin effective na siya within the year. Magiging interest expense yung buong 800,000 within the year, mababayaran yung buong notes payable na 5 million within the year. So number 4. Number 4 po, at the beginning of the current year, the entity purchased a machine for 2 million pesos in exchange for a non-interest-bearing note requiring 4 payments of 500,000. So, meron daw biniling machine, tapos ang magiging bayaran ay installment, then 500,000. Tapos yung first payment daw po was made at the end of the current year. So, at the end, ibig sabihin, present value of ordinary annuity yung kailangan natin dyan. So, ito ay annual na siya. Kasi yung first payment at the end of the current year, ibig sabihin, every December 31 yung magiging pagbabayad natin. Doon nalilitaw yung discount on notes payable na account title. So, yung implicit rate of interest daw natin dito, at the date of issuance is 10%, So, pwedeng i-check nyo no, yung PVOA tsaka yung PVAD sa mga calculator nyo. Pero dito, binigay na siya sa atin na kapag daw PVOA, ordinary annuity of 1, 3.17 for 4 periods. At kapag ka naman annuity of due, 10 sa 10% is 3.49 for 4 periods. So, anong gagamitin natin dyan? PVOA or PVAD? So, ito ay end of the year. Therefore, the ordinary annuity na 3.17. So, ayun yung gagamitin natin pang-compute ng present value ng ating notes payable. Yan. So, para ma-compute natin dito, no? So, ito, number 4. Hindi pa to journal entry, no? Ko-compute lang natin siya. So, yung annual payment na 500,000, multiply natin sa PVOA kasi nga at the end of each year which is 3.17. So, ito yung present value of notes payable natin. So, 500,000 times 3.17. 500,000 times 3.17, that is 1,585,000. 585. Ayan. So, ito yung present value ng ating notes payable. 1,585,000. So, para naman ma-compute yung discount on notes payable, yung face amount of notes payable, yung face amount, yung kabuuan niya, yung 2 million kasi 500,000 for payments. So, 500,000 times 4, that is 2 million. Compare mo lang siya doon sa present value of notes payable na 1,585,000. So, yung difference nila, ayun yung discount on notes payable. So, pag minus mo lang yan, 2 million minus 1,585,000, ito yung sagot niya, 415,000. So, ayun yung discount on notes payable. So, this time, magagamit na natin yung account title na discount on notes payable kasi tatagal ng 4 na taon yung pagbabayad natin. So, ngayon pa lang natin, no, i-journalize kung ano yung journal entry at the time of acquisition. So, debit tayo sa machinery, doon sa present value ng notes natin, 1,585,000. Credit tayo sa notes payable para sa total face amount niya na 2 million. Tapos yung difference ay ilagay natin sa discount on notes payable. So, naka-debit si discount on notes payable 415,000. Yan. So, sabihin natin, for example, end na ng year, magbabayad tayo, maghuhulog tayo, di ba, ng 500,000. So, debit tayo, notes payable, para sa first installment na 500,000, tapos credit cash, 500,000. And at the same time, mag-a-amortize tayo ng discount on notes payable. Babawasan natin yan. Kasi di ba magkakaroon tayo ng interest expense. So, yung journal entry natin doon, debit interest expense, credit discount on notes payable. Paano tong mako-compute? Pwede kang gumawa ng table of amortization. But since isang taon lang naman, no, ilalagay ko na lang dito yung computation. So, yung present value ng notes payable, yung current present value niya during the year, which is 1,585,000. Since first year pa lang ito, no? So, yung na-compute nating present value, ayun pa rin yung magiging basis natin. Dahil nga, first year pa lang ito. So, multiply mo lang siya sa 10% na implicit rate para makuha mo magkano yung amortization ng interest expense. So, 1,585,000 multiply sa 10%. So, 158,500. Yan. So, kung gusto mong buuin, gawa ka ng table of amortization. But since 1 year lang naman yung hinihingi sa ating journal entry, ganyan po yung kanyang computation. Yung present value multiply sa implicit interest rate. So, kung second year na yung hinihingi sa'yo, kailangan mag-make ka na ng table of amortization para mas tama yung determination mo ng interest expense. Then, number 5. At the beginning of the current year, the entity acquired a machine by issuing a 4-year non-interest bearing note for 2 million. So the entity had an implicit 10% interest for the type of note. The present value of 1 at 10% for 4 years is 0.68. So itong sa number 5, ang kaibahan niya, lump sum payment lang siya. Yung sa number 4 kasi installment 500,000 yung annual payment. Ito, 2 million at yung 2 million na yon babayaran siya after 4 years. So yung 2 million, multiply mo lang doon sa PV of 1 kasi one-time payment. So present value of 1 lang yan para makuha mo yung cost ng machinery. So yung face amount na 2 million, multiply mo lang sa 0.68. So, diniretso ko na, hindi ko na pinakita yung computation, yung detailed computation. So, 2 million times 0.68 na PV of 1 or present value of 1. Ulitin ko, bakit present value of 1? Dahil ito po ay one-time payment at the end of 4 years. So, we will get 1,360,000. Tapos, credit tayo sa notes payable. Ang notes payable natin ay 2 million. So, yung difference nila, 2 million minus 1,360,000, yung difference nila, ayun yung discount on notes payable. So, discount din siya kasi 4 years din tatagal yung utang natin. 640,000. Yan. So, at the end of the year, wala tayong ibabawas kay notes payable dahil nga after 4 years pa natin siyang babayaran, pero meron tayong amortization ng interest. So, debit tayo ng interest expense, credit tayo ng discount on notes payable. So, katulad ng computation kanina, yung current present value, which is yung 1,360,000, multiply mo lang sa implicit rate niya na 10%. So, multiply mo sa 10%. So, 1,360 times 10%, that is 136,000. Ibig sabihin, for the first year, ito yung kanyang interest expense. So, pwede ka rin magawa ng table of amortization kung gusto mo, di ba? Pero, since 1 year lang naman yung hinihingi, hindi na ako nagawa ng table of amortization. Pero kung hinihingi din sa inyo yung journal entry ng ika-second year, third year, fourth year, mas mainam kung gagawa po kayo ng inyong table of amortization. So, that's it for problem 23-5. Next po, problem 23-6. So, for problem 23-6, ang requirement sa atin is to prepare the journal entries to record the exchange transactions. So, mga exchange transactions pala itong nasa problem 23-6. So, Cherish Company provided the following transactions. Number 1, exchange a car from inventory for a computer to be used as a long-term asset. So, nakipagpalit siya. Yung car na nasa inventory, ibig sabihin, kung yung kotse nasa inventory, ang binebenta niya sa negosyo niya ay kotse. Ganon siya. So, inventory, yung account title na gagamitin natin, no? Hindi service vehicle or hindi car. Kasi in this case, yung kotse, ayun yung inventory niya kasi ayun yung binebenta niya. So, nakipagpalitan daw po siya for a computer. So, yung carrying amount daw po nung car natin is 600,000. Yung listed selling price naman nung car is 950,000. Yung fair value ng computer is 860,000. And yung cash difference paid by Cherish Company is 100,000. So, yung gagawan lang natin ng journal entry dito, si Cherish, no? Si Cherish Company. Yung kapalitan niya, hindi na natin gagawan ng journal entry. So, in this case, sabi dito, cash difference paid by Cherish Company. Ibig sabihin, si Cherish, siya po yung ating payor. Kasi, siya yung nag-make ng additional payment. So, kapag di ba nag-make ka ng additional payment, yung additional payment mo kapag exchange transaction, ayun yung maa-add doon sa cost ng ating, doon sa cost ng asset na mapupunta sa atin. So, however, ang given lang sa atin, carrying amount ng kotse, listed selling price ng kotse. Walang binigay sa atin na fair value ng car. Kasi, ang formula dapat natin, di ba? Fair value of the asset given plus cash payment. So, So, fair value of the asset given plus cash payment. However, walang fair value ng asset given. Ang binigay kasi natin is car. Ang meron lang tayo, fair value of the computer. Di ba, nung discussion natin, nabanggit ko na yung cost nung new PPE na maa-acquire natin ay equal kapag ka merong commercial substance ha. So, yung cost ng PPE na maa-acquire natin ay equal doon sa fair value nung PPE. So, yung cost ng PPE po, yung kung magkano natin siya i-record, yung fair value ng asset given plus cash payment, di ba? Ayun yung cost ng new PPE po na makukuha natin, na i-record natin, equal siya doon sa fair value ng asset received. At yung asset received natin in this case is the computer. So, ibig sabihin, etong fair value ng computer na to, 860,000. Ayan yung magiging cost dapat nung ire-record natin. Ito yung magiging cost ng asset received po natin. So, if naaalala nyo no, sa discussion, parang nabanggit ko po yun. At sure akong nabanggit ko yon. Ulitin ko no kasi baka hindi masyadong nagigets. Ang formula kasi talaga 'di ba? Fair value of asset given plus cash payment para makuha mo yung cost of new asset. Yan. So fair value of asset given ipa-plus mo si cash payment para makuha mo yung cost ng new asset. However, dito wala tayong binigay or hindi binigay sa atin yung fair value ng asset given. Ang binigay lang sa atin si cash payment na 100,000. So, hindi binigay si fair value ng asset given. So, sabi natin, etong cost of new asset equal siya doon sa fair value nung asset na matatanggap natin. At ano ba yung asset na matatanggap natin? Computer. Kaya dito sa computer na to, dito yung 860,000. Diba? Naituro ko po yan sa inyo, no? So, makakapag-workback ka para makuha mo yung fair value nung car. So, lagay ko na dito, no? Since car naman yung pinag-uusapan natin. Fair value of car. Dito, cost of computer. Yan. So, fair value kasi ng computer ang binigay. So, 860,000. Work back ka to get the fair value of the car. So, 860,000 minus 100,000. Ibig sabihin yung fair value ng car is 760,000. Ayun, ganun siya. Tapos, since nakuha mo na yung fair value ng car, pwede mo na rin malaman if meron bang gain or loss on exchange. Compare mo lang siya sa carrying amount. So, yung fair value of car na 760,000, kumpara mo lang doon sa carrying amount of the car na, eto, yung carrying amount, 600,000. Minus 600,000. So, since mas malaki yung fair value kaysa sa carrying amount, ibig sabihin meron tayong gain on exchange. Ang gain on exchange natin, yung difference niyan, eto po, 160,000. Ayan, ganun siya, no? May pag-workback na nagaganap. So, naituro ko po yan, no? Pwede niyong balikan yung discussion natin. Ayan. So, mag-journal entry na tayo. Debit tayo ng computer kasi ayun yung new asset na matatanggap natin para sa cost niya which is 860,000. Yan. Tapos, since nakipagpalit tayo, no, mawawala na sa atin si car. So, si car meron siyang carrying amount na 600,000. So, ito, no, ulitin ko, si car ay from inventory siya. So, hindi car ang aalisin mo, hindi car ang i-credit mo, rather inventory. And since nasa inventory siya, wala rin siyang depreciation. Kasi kapag inventory, hindi mo naman dinidepreciate yan. PPE lang naman yung dinidepreciate natin. So, credit natin yung inventory para sa car, sa carrying amount niya na 600,000. And take note na nagbayad din tayo ng cash na 100,000. So, credit din natin yan, cash, 100,000. Then, lastly, yung gain on exchange. Since gain po yan, nasa credit siya. So, credit, gain on exchange, 160,000. So, balance yan, no? magto-total din yung credit mo ng 860,000. Ayun, so that's it for number 1. Number 2, exchange an old packaging machine costing 1,200,000. So, ito yung kanyang original cost ng old packaging machine and 50% depreciated. So, kung 1,200,000 siya, 50% na yung accumulated depreciation niya. So, pinagpalit siya sa new machine at nagbayad daw ng cash, difference of 160,000. So, the fair value of the old packaging machine is reliably determined at 700,000 pesos. So, yung fair value ng old packaging machine, ayan yung fair value of asset given. So, dito, no, meron ng fair value yung old packaging machine natin, meron ng fair value of asset given, kaya ang computation niya, lagyan ko nga to ng label. So, computation lang yan. Hindi yan kasama sa journal entry. Yan. So, ito din. So, yung fair value ng asset given natin or fair value ng old packaging machine, which is, magkano yun? 700,000. So, 700,000. Tapos, add natin yung cash payment natin. Sabi kasi paid a cash. So, ibig sabihin, nagkaroon tayo ng cash payment. 160,000. So, ito yung magiging cost of new packaging machine natin. So, 700,000 plus 160,000. So, that is 860,000. Ayan. Then, to know if merong gain or loss on exchange, so yung fair value, kumpara mo lang sa carrying amount. So, yung fair value of old packaging machine na 700,000, kumpara mo lang sa carrying amount of machine. So, yung carrying amount niya, yung cost minus accumulated depreciation. So, yung original cost niya kasi is 1,200,000, 50% depreciated na daw siya. So, ibig sabihin, 50% na lang din yung natitira sa kanya. Kaya, 1,200,000, multiply mo lang sa 50%. Ibig sabihin, 600,000 si accum debt. Tapos, 600,000 na lang din yung kanyang carrying amount. So, compare mo lang yan. 600,000. So, makukuha mo na yung gain on exchange. So, ito gain din siya, no? Kasi mas mataas yung fair value kaysa sa carrying amount. So, ang gain on exchange natin ay 100,000. Ay, sorry. So, kapag ka nag-journal entry ka, debit natin si machine, new, yung matatanggap natin at its cost, 860,000. Tapos, yung ipapalit natin na old machine, aalisin na natin sa record. Since ito, old machine, no, nagde-depreciate siya. So, dapat aalisin mo yung accumulated depreciation niya, which is yung 50% din, 600,000. Tapos, aalisin mo din yung kanyang cost. So, yung cost niya, 1,200,000. Kasi 50% depreciated. Ibig sabihin, 50% si accum debt. Kaya nga makukuha mo si carrying amount na 600,000 din, di ba? Kasi si old machine merong cost na 1,200,000, tapos accum debt niya ay 600,000. So, accum debt niya ay 600,000. Kaya yung carrying amount niya dito, 600,000 din. So, aalisin mo na yan. Kasi ito, nagde-depreciate siya. Tapos, don't forget na meron din tayong cash payment na 160,000. Tapos, yung gain on exchange natin ay credit din. Gain on exchange, 100,000. So, balance din po yan. So, next po tayo is number 3. Exchange an old equipment costing 3 million. So, nakipag-exchange na old equipment naman. Meron siyang cost na 3 million and accumulated depreciation na 1,800,000. So, yung fair value niya is 1 million. So, pinagpalit niya ito sa another use equipment na meron namang fair value na 1,500,000. So, the exchange daw po is non-monetary. When we say the exchange is non-monetary, ibig sabihin walang cash payment na naganap. So, walang cash paid, walang cash received, ganon. So, kung ano lang yung halaga ng equipment, ayun lang din yung pinagpalit nila. Ayan. So, dito, sa computation natin dito, yung magiging cost nung ating new packaging machine will only be equal doon sa kanyang fair value. Ayan. Kasi wala namang cash payment. So, pakita ko, no, para gets nyo. Fair value of asset given. So, yung fair value ng asset given natin, which is yung old machine, ay ito, si 1 million. Kaso sabi, non-monetary, ibig sabihin dito sa cash payment natin, 0 lang din yung ilalagay natin dyan. Kaya yung cost of new equipment natin na mapupunta po sa atin will only be 1 million pesos. So, di ba kahit di ka na mag-compute? Kasi nga, non-monetary naman daw po siya. So, ang i-compute na lang natin kung meron ba tayong gain or loss on exchange. So, pag gain or loss on exchange, yung fair value of the equipment or yung fair value ng asset given natin, fair value of old equipment, ayan yung binigay natin na 1 million, kumpara lang natin sa carrying amount of old equipment. So, yung carrying amount niya, yung cost, minus its accumulated depreciation. So, yung cost is 3 million, yung accum debt ay 1,800,000. So, 3 million na cost minus accum debt na 1,800,000, ibig sabihin yung carrying amount, 1,200,000. So, mas mataas yung carrying amount kaysa sa fair value. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong loss on exchange. So, 1 million minus 1,200,000, ang loss on exchange natin would be 200,000. So, ang journal entry natin dyan, yan, journalize natin, debit natin si equipment new, yung matatanggap natin doon sa cost na na-compute natin, which is 1 million. Tapos, alisin natin yung old equipment, alisin natin yung cost niya with its corresponding accumulated depreciation. So, para maalis sa equipment old, credit mo yan. Kasi asset yan, no? So, para mabawasan, credit mo. Si accumulated depreciation naman po, si accumulated depreciation, ang normal balance ay credit. So, para mawala sa records natin, debit naman natin siya. Depreciation. 1,800,000. Yan. Then, meron tayong loss on exchange. Pag loss, debit. So, debit din natin si loss on exchange. 200,000. Ayun. So, wala tayong naka-credit na cash kasi nga, non-monetary ito. So, balance na po yung journal entry natin. So, that's it for number 3. Next, number 4. Traded in an old machine costing 3,500,000 with a carrying amount of 2 million and paid a cash difference of 600,000 for a new machine with a cash price of 2,500,000. So, ito nakipag-trade in naman tayo, no? Yung old machine kapalit ng isang new machine, tapos meron tayong binayaran na cash difference na 600,000. Ayan. So, excuse me, ang given sa atin dito, no, is yung cash price ng ating new machine. Wala uling binigay sa atin, no, na fair value ng old machine natin. So, ibig sabihin, katulad nung ginawa natin, ano ba natin ginawa yun? Ayan, dito. Katulad nung ginawa natin dito, magwo-work back lang ulit tayo. Kasi yung meron sa atin is yung cash price ng ating new machine. Yung cash price, para lang din siyang fair value. Yan. O parang ayun yung mako-consider natin as fair value. Kasi 'di ba dapat fair value nung asset given, fair value of asset given which is yung old machine, ia-add mo si cash payment. Yung cash payment ay yung difference na 600,000. Kaso ito, hindi given. Walang binigay sa atin na fair value ng old machine. Ang binigay lang sa atin, yung new machine na cash price. So, work back ka. So, yung new machine na cash price, parang ayan yung cost nung new machine natin. Cost of new machine. 2,500,000. So, para makuha si fair value ng asset given, work back lang. 2,500,000 minus 600,000. Ibig sabihin, yung fair value ng asset given is 1,900,000. Yan. So, check din natin kung merong gain or loss on exchange. So, yung fair value ng asset given po natin or fair value ng old machine, fair value of old machine. So, iisa lang yun, no? Fair value of asset given and fair value of old machine. Kasi si old machine naman yung asset na ginive natin, na binigay natin. So, 1,900,000. So, kumpara mo lang siya sa carrying amount of old machine. So, yung carrying amount, yung cost na 3,500,000, ay carrying amount na pala ang binigay sa atin. We don't have to compute na pala for the carrying amount. So, ayun, carrying amount na 2 million. Ibig sabihin, yung accum debt niya ay 1,500,000 if ever na itatanong sa inyo. Kala ko kasi accum debt ang given sa atin. Carrying amount na pala. Yan. So, kumpara mo lang, mas mataas yung carrying amount kaysa sa fair value ng machine natin. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong loss on exchange. So, ang loss on exchange natin, yung difference nila, sobra pa ng 0, 100,000. So, kapag ka, journal entry natin to, number 4, debit natin si machine new para dun sa kanyang cost, which is yung cash price niya or fair value niya na 2,500,000. Tapos, alisin natin yung cost nung old machine. So, alisin natin si old machine. Machinery pala, machinery. Para kompleto. Machinery old sa cost niya na 3,500,000. Tapos, alisin din natin yung corresponding accumulated depreciation. Since carrying amount nga yung binigay sa atin, 2 million, ayan. So, work back na lang para makuha si accum debt. So, kung meron siyang cost na 3 million, tapos meron siyang cost na 3,500,000, 3,500,000, tapos meron siyang carrying amount na 2 million, so yung difference niya, ayun yung accum debt. Ibig sabihin, yung accumulated depreciation is 1,500,000. So, alisin din natin yun. Accumulated depreciation. 1,500,000. Yan. Tapos, credit din tayo para sa cash payment. Kasi nagbayad tayo ng cash na 600,000. So, cash, 600,000. And don't forget, meron tayong loss. So, pag loss, debit. So, loss on exchange. 100,000. So, that's our journal entry for number 4. So, check mo lang kung balanse. Balanse naman. 4,100,000 debit and credit. So, last number 4, problem 23-6. Exchange a delivery truck costing 1 million for another delivery truck. The delivery truck given had a carrying amount of 650,000 and a fair value of 500,000. So, ito yung given, yung asset given mo. Carrying amount tsaka fair value. Tapos, nagbayad pa daw ng 700,000 cash in addition to the truck as part of the transaction. Yung delivery truck daw na na-received in exchange had a carrying amount of 800,000 and a fair value of 1,200,000. Sabi dito, cash flows from the assets are not expected to be significantly different. So, kapag hindi siya significantly different, ibig sabihin, no commercial substance. So, kapag walang commercial substance, ang gagamitin lang nating basis is the carrying amount. So, pag walang commercial substance, ang gamiting basis ay ang carrying amount po natin. Yan. So, number 5. Computation na lang din muna. So, carrying amount ang magiging basis, carrying amount of asset given, which is yung delivery truck na binigay natin. So, yung carrying amount niya ng delivery truck given ay 650,000. Tapos, add lang natin si cash payment. So, yung cash payment, 700,000. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung cost of new delivery truck. So, ang cost ng new delivery trucks, 650,000 plus 700,000. This is 1,350,000. 1,350,000. Ayan. Tapos, kapag ka po no commercial substance, take note that if there is no commercial substance, dapat wala tayong gain or loss on exchange. Kasi nga, wala naman siyang commercial substance. So, ang journal entry natin dito, so, debit natin yung cost ng delivery truck na new. Delivery truck new. Yung 1,350,000. Tapos, alisin natin yung lumang delivery truck. So, alisin natin si delivery truck old. Ang delivery truck old natin, meron siyang cost na 1 million. Tapos, yung carrying amount niya, 650,000. So, pwede natin makompute yung accumulated depreciation niya, no? So, 1 million na 1 million na cost minus 650,000 na carrying amount. So, yung accumulated depreciation is 350,000. So, ayun yung ilalagay natin. Accumulated depreciation. 350,000. Tapos, credit din natin si cash payment na 700,000. Cash, 700,000. So, ayun, ganun lang. Walang gain or loss. Kasi nga, wala naman pong commercial substance. So, ito lang ko-compute mo dyan. Yung cost of new delivery truck at saka yung accum-dep. Si accum-dep naman, workback lang naman yun. So, that's it for problem 23-6. Ayan, so 1 hour na pala. So, next po, problem 23-7. So, for problem 23-7, isang transaction lang naman ito. Sabi, prepare journal entry to record the exchange transaction. So, Wilbur Company traded a used equipment for a newer model with a dealer. So, para siyang trade-in, ganon. Kasi kapag trade-in, individual to dealer yung nagiging exchange. So, yung old equipment natin, meron siyang original cost na 4 million, accumulated depreciation na 3 million, at saka average retail price na 850,000. Yung new equipment, yung ipapa-exchange na, or yung mapupunta sa atin, merong list price na 5 million, meron siyang cash price without trade-in na 4,500,000, at meron siyang cash payment with trade-in na 3,900,000. So, ang kakaiba dito sa problem na to is hindi directly binigay sa atin kung magkano yung fair market value nung old equipment or kung magkano yung pinaka-trade-in value niya. So, mag-work back tayo. Ang gagawin natin, ikukumpara lang natin yung cash price without trade-in doon sa cash payment with trade-in. Kasi yung cash price without trade-in, ibig sabihin, 4,500,000 yung babayaran mo, kung cash lang siya, purely cash, wala kang ipapalit na old equipment. Pero kung may ipapalit ka na old equipment, yung cash lang na babayaran mo is 3,900,000. So, yung difference nila, ayun na yung pinaka-trade-in value natin. Ayun, ganun lang naman siyang kasimple. So, compute din natin dito. So, si cash price without trade-in. So, yung babayaran mo kung wala kang old equipment, ikukumpara mo lang siya doon sa cash payment or sa ibabayad mo kung merong trade-in na 3,900,000. So, yung difference niya, ayan na yung trade-in value. So, 4,500,000 minus 3,900,000, ayan, 600,000. So, ibig sabihin, 600,000 yung kanyang trade-in value. So, check din natin kung merong gain or loss on exchange. So, yung trade-in value, kumpara mo lang sa carrying amount. So, si trade-in value, nakaka-compute lang natin, 600,000. Kumpara mo lang sa carrying amount. So, ito yung sa old equipment Meron siyang original cost na 4 million, carrying amount na 3 million. So, minus mo lang accumulated depreciation na 3 million. So, minus mo lang para makuha si carrying amount, 4 million minus 3 million, 1 million yung kanyang carrying amount. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong loss. So, meron tayong loss on exchange. Ang loss on exchange natin, 600,000 minus 1 million. So, that is 400,000. Yun. Tapos, journalize na natin. Excuse me. So, debit tayo ng equipment new para doon sa total na halaga niya. Ang pinaka-total na halaga niya, yung kasama na yung trade-in value, which is ito, yung cash price without trade-in. Yung 4,500,000. Yan. Tapos, tanggalin na natin yung old equipment natin. So, tanggalin natin yung cost niya na 4 million, tsaka yung accum debt niya na 3 million. So, equipment, old, tanggalin mo sa cost, 4 million. Tanggalin din natin yung kanyang accumulated depreciation na 3 million. Ayan. Tapos, yung cash payment natin, yung cash payment is ito, yung cash payment with trade-in. So, ayan yung naka-credit sa cash. 3,900,000. And syempre, yung loss on exchange natin na pag-loss ay debit. So, loss on exchange, 400,000. So, check mo lang din if balance. So, balance naman, 7,900,000, both debit and credit. So, ganun lang for problem 23-7. Let's move to problem 23-8. So, for problem 23-8, pinapa-journalize lang din sa atin itong exchange transaction. So, this is another exchange, no? So, Gilmar Company acquired a delivery truck making payment of 2,900,000 with the following details. So, 2,900,000 yung total cash na binayaran niya. So, ito daw yung contents ng 2,900,000. Merong price ng truck na 2,500,000, merong charge for extra equipment na 150,000 I mean. So, yung charge for extra equipment, so, baka kasi itong delivery truck is pinadeliver siya o kaya merong idinagdag sa kanya, ganyan. So, nagbayad ng additional 150,000. Tapos, merong value-added tax. Si value-added tax, this is a refundable or recoverable tax. Sabi din dun sa baba, the value-added tax is refundable or recoverable. Di ba sabi natin kapag yung mga purchase tax is refundable or recoverable, it should not be included sa cost ng PPE natin. Kaya itong 300,000 dapat hindi siya kasama sa cost ng PPE. Dapat input VAT siya or sa tax natin siya ilalagay. Tapos, meron ding insurance for 1 year. Itong insurance for 1 year, hindi rin siya kasama sa cost ng truck natin. Kung insurance siya during the delivery, kasama siya. Kaso insurance na siya for 1 year. Di ba ganun na may mga sasakyan? Merong mga insurance. So, hindi yan kasama sa cost ng truck natin. Para siyang prepaid insurance. So, hindi to kasama. Etong motor vehicle registration, this is not also included. Kasama siya sa licenses. So, expense outright din siya. So, ito lang dalawa yung kasama. Si 2,500,000 tsaka 150,000. Sila lang talaga yung kasama sa cost ng truck natin. Tapos, meron ding trade-in value, yung old truck natin na 200,000 na nabawas doon sa cash payment. Kaya ang cash payment na lang ay naging 2,900,000. So, yung old truck daw natin ay meron siyang cost na 1,500,000, tapos meron siyang carrying amount na 400,000, at meron siyang fair value na 350,000. Ayan. Tapos, ayun nga, si VAT is refundable or recoverable. So, dito, tingnan muna natin kung, ayun nga, nabanggit ko na pala, hindi na pala kailangan tingnan, isulat natin kung ano lang talaga yung kasama sa cost ng truck, which is yung dalawa lang, yung price of truck tsaka yung charge for extra equipment. Itong tatlong to, hindi talaga sila kasama sa cost ng delivery truck dahil iba yung kanilang classification. So, ang dapat lang talaga nating isama is yung price of truck na 2,500,000 at saka yung charge for extra equipment na 150,000. So, ito lang talaga yung capitalizable cost sa truck natin. 2,500,000 plus 150,000. So, 2,650,000 lang talaga. Hindi yung buong 3,100,000, no? Mamaya, i-journalize din naman natin yung iba. And then, i-deduct natin itong trade-in value ng old truck kasi kumbaga, anong tawag dito? Nabawas siya doon sa magiging payment natin. Kasi, pinapalitan natin yung old delivery truck natin. So, less natin yung trade-in value of old truck na 200,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung magiging capitalizable payment lang talaga natin, yung capitalizable sa truck, capitalizable payment para sa delivery truck would be 2,650 minus 200, 2,450,000. So, ayan lang talaga yung payment that is capitalizable to our truck na binibili. So, itong capitalizable payment na to, a-add lang natin sa fair value nung ating excuse me, sa fair value ng old truck para makuha natin yung magiging cost ng new truck. So, fair value ng asset given or fair value ng old truck na 350,000, add lang natin yung capitalizable payment. So, kaya natin ginawa to no, na nag-compute pa ng capitalizable payment dahil hindi naman yung buong 3,100,000 ay kasama sa dapat i-capitalize sa truck. So, ito ay 2,450,000. So, kapag pinag-plus mo yan, ayan na yung cost ng new truck natin. Cost of new truck. So, 2,350 plus 2,450,000. Ito yung sagot, may sum dyan. 2,800,000. So, that is the cost of the new truck. Then, check mo din kung meron kang gain or loss. So, yung fair value of old truck na 350,000, kumpara mo lang sa carrying amount. Carrying amount of old truck. So, yung carrying amount naman po ng old truck natin ay given na siya. Ito, so the carrying amount of the old truck is 400,000. So, minus 400,000. So, kumpara mo lang, mas mataas yung carrying amount kaysa sa fair value, ibig sabihin meron tayong loss. Loss on exchange na 50,000. Ayan. So, ayan yung mga kailangan natin para sa journal entry. So, kapag ka nag-journal entry tayo, yan, when we prepare our journal entry, ang gagawin natin, busog ko lang to. Yan. So, ito na yung journal entry, no? Yung mga nauna, computation lang siya. So, debit natin si delivery truck new, para dito sa cost of new truck na na-compute natin, 2,800,000. Tapos, alisin na natin yung old truck natin. So, credit tayo ng delivery truck old. Yung cost niya na 1,500,000. So, since meron siyang cost na given, meron ding carrying amount, work back ka lang para makuha si accumulated depreciation. So, yung cost na 1,500,000, minus mo lang yung carrying amount na 400,000. So, ibig sabihin, 1,100,000 yung accumulated depreciation ng old truck na aalisin na din natin. So, debit mo yon. Debit mo sa accumulated depreciation. 1,100,000. Ayan. Tapos, Cash payment. So, yung total cash paid natin is 2,900,000 pero yung capitalizable lang dyan para doon sa new truck natin, ito, yun na-compute natin na 2,450,000. But iisang journal entry na lang natin. Isama na natin yung iba pa nating nagastos, no? Ayan. So, dinagdagan ko lang ng row. So, isama pa natin yung iba nating nagastos, which is ito, si value added tax. Sabi ko nga, refundable ito, kaya hindi siya kasama sa delivery truck. So, lagay mo siya kay input VAT. So, input kasi ikaw yung nag-purchase. Kaya meron kang input VAT, 300,000. Mababawas yan doon sa output VAT, madededuct yun, tapos yung difference sa output VAT tsaka input VAT, ayun yung VAT payable mo. Tapos, insurance for 1 year. So, pwede siyang ilagay sa prepaid insurance or simply insurance kung expense na siya, no? So, prepaid insurance, assuming na hindi pa siya nagagamit. So, that is 130,000. Tapos, motor vehicle registration, nabanggit ko kanina sa licenses yan. So, taxes and licenses, 20,000. Ayan. So, para yung buong cash payment na 2,900,000, yung ma-journal natin. Kaya dito, credit ka na ng cash, 2,900,000. And syempre, meron tayong loss on exchange, pag loss, debit. So, debit loss on exchange, 50,000. So, check lang natin kung balanse ang debit and credit. So, 4,400,000 sa debit, 4,400,000 din sa credit. So, that's it for problem 23-8. Yan, konti na lang. So, problem 23-9. So, for problem 23-9, ito yung sa construction na yung magko-construct tayo ng mga PPE natin. Tapos, may kasabay siyang production din ng mga finished goods. So, Belarus company provided the following information in relation to the construction of a building during the year. So, ito yung total na direct labor, materials, saka overhead. Tapos, dito yung finished goods at saka yung building natin. Tapos, ito yung mga assumptions, no? So, independent assumptions siya. Ibig sabihin ay hindi sila related sa isa't isa. So, let us start with assumption number 1. Sa assumption number 1, no overhead is to be assigned to the building. So, wala daw overhead na i-assign sa building. Ang pinapagawa kasi sa atin, co-compute lang naman natin yung cost ng finished goods at saka ng building. So, sa number 1 na assumption, wala daw overhead si building. So, ibig sabihin, yung buong overhead na 2 million, kay finished goods lang natin ilalagay. So, lagay natin dito yung total finished goods, tapos building. Yan. So, ito yung nasa dulong part na ng discussion natin last time. So, direct labor, meron silang total na 6 million. Tapos, 4,200,000 kay finished goods, 1,800,000 kay building. Si materials naman, meron siyang total na 7 million. Tapos, kay finished goods, 3 million. Kay building ay 4 million. Tapos, si overhead, ang total niya ay 2 million. Tapos, sabi nga sa assumption 1, no overhead is to be assigned to the building. Ibig sabihin, yung buong 2 million kay finished goods lang. So, 0 si building. So, total mo lang yan. Diba? Napaka-easy naman. So, more on pro ratio lang or pro rata lang kasi yung ginagawa dito. So, total cost. So, total na din natin to. This is 15 million. Si finished goods, ang magiging total cost niya, ito ho, yung sum, 9,200,000. Si building, plus mo lang din yan, 5,800,000. So, ayan yung total cost nila. Finished goods, 9,200,000. Si building po, 5,800,000. For assumption number 1. Next assumption, normal production of finished goods is 180,000 units. So, yung normally daw na napoproduce na finished goods kada taon, 180,000 units. However, dahil daw nag-construct ng building, yung finished goods production lang ay naging 135,000 units. So, the building is to be charged with the overhead which would have been charged to the 45,000 units which were not produced. Kasi 180,000 units yung nagagawa, pero dahil nagkaroon ng construction, 135,000 lang yung nagawa. So, yung kulang na 45,000 units na production sa finished goods, yung overhead doon sa building daw i-charge. So, yung 45,000 po sa building i-charge. Tapos, yung 135,000 sa finished goods. So, kopyahin na lang natin to. So, sa direct labor materials, wala namang problema. Kasi ang karaniwan lang naman nagkaka-problem is the overhead. So, yung total nila, ganyan pa rin naman. So, sa finished goods, 4,200,000 pa rin naman yung direct labor, materials, same pa rin naman. Yung overhead lang yung magkakaroon ng difference. Kasi dito, mag-a-allocate na po tayo. So, 135 po kay finished goods, kay building ay 45. So, plus mo lang yon 135 plus 45. So, inalis ko na yung 1,000, no? So, 180. Kaya kay finished goods, eto no, kay finished goods, ang mangyayari sa kanya, yung 2 million na overhead times 135 divided by 180. So, bakit 135? Kasi 135,000 units yung allocated sa kanya. Kay building naman po, yung 2 million na overhead, multiply by 45 divided by 180. Bakit 45? Kasi nga, kinulang ng production si finished goods dahil nagawa ng building at yung kulang daw na 45,000 units kay building daw, i-charge. Ganon siya. So, ang mapupunta kay finished goods, 2 million times 135 divided by 180. So, kay finished goods would be 1,500,000. Kay building, 2 million times 45 divided by 180. 500,000 yung mapupunta kay building. Tapos, total lang din natin siya. Kopyahin ko na lang to. Yan. So, total natin siya. Yung total cost natin, same pa rin naman. So, 15 million pa rin naman yung total cost. Si finished goods, magiging 8,700,000 na lang siya. So, bumaba, no? Kasi may nakashare si building. Si building, magiging 6,300,000. So, tumaas naman siya in comparison to assumption 1 kasi shinare niya yung 45,000 na kulang sa production. Then, last, for 23-9, overhead is to be apportioned in the ratio of direct labor. So, dito naman sa direct labor cost naman tayo magbabase. So, kopyahin lang din natin to. Ito na lang pala. So, kopyahin ko lang to. Tapos, buraburahin ko na lang, no, yung mga magbabago. Kasi yung direct labor saka materials, hindi naman yan mag-change. So, ito lang naman yung magbabago. Si overhead. Yan. So, by number 3, ang gagamitin natin basis ng proportion ng overhead is yung direct labor. So, ibig sabihin kay finished goods, yung 2 million na overhead, base ka sa direct labor, ito si direct labor, no? 4.2 million kay finished goods at 1.8 million kay building. So, yung total niya ay 6 million. So, po pwedeng 4.2 million divided by 6 million or 4.2 divided by 6. Pwede ring 420 divided by 600 or 42 divided by 60. Basta dapat parehas ng bilang ng 0 na i-eliminate. Si building naman, yung 2 million na overhead times 1.8 million divided by 6 million. Kasi 1.8 million yung direct labor cost niya, 6 million yung total. Yan. So, compute mo lang din. Okay, finished goods, 2 million times 4.2 divided by 6. So, 1,400,000 kay finished goods. Kay building, 2 million times 1.8 divided by 6. 600,000 naman kay building. Yan. So, basis nito, direct labor cost. So, ang total cost na ni finished goods would be 8,600,000. Ang kay building naman would be 6,400,000. Ayun, ganun lang for 23-9. Allocation lang ng overhead costs. Then, lastly, 23-10. So, for 23-10, halos kaparehas lang siya ng 23-9, more on allocation lang ng overhead. So, Ukraine company summarized the following manufacturing and construction activities for the current year. So, binigay yung materials tsaka direct labor ng finished goods and machinery. So, overhead for the prior year was 75% of the direct labor cost. Overhead, so, nung nakaraang taon yon, last year, kapag magko-compute ng overhead, 75% daw ng direct labor cost. So, overhead naman daw in the current year related to both product manufacture and construction activities amounted to 3,600,000. Tapos yung sa current na taon, yung total overhead daw is 3,600,000. So, requirement A, i-determine daw natin yung cost ng machinery assuming that manufacturing activities are to be charged with overhead at the rate experienced in the prior year. So, i-consider daw natin yung rate na na-experience last year. Kasi assuming na last year wala namang production. So, nung last year na walang production, 75% ng direct labor cost, ayun yung overhead. So, kung walang production, ibig sabihin 75% ng direct labor cost ni finished goods na 4 million, ayun yung magiging overhead niya. So, for requirement A, gagawin mo lang dyan, yung direct labor cost of finished goods na 4 million, multiply mo lang by overhead rate, which is 75%. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung overhead of finished goods. So, 4 million times 75%. 4 million times 0.75. So, ibig sabihin, kung magbe-base tayo sa prior year na experience natin, dapat 3 million yung overhead ni finished goods. Ang naging total overhead natin is 3,600,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung excess dahil sa construction ng machinery. So, yung total overhead ng current year na 3,600,000, less mo lang yung allocated to finished goods, allocated to finished goods na 3 million. So, yung difference, ito yung overhead allocated to machinery. So, yung overhead allocated to machinery would be 600,000. Kasi yung 3 million mapupunta kay finished goods. At itong 3 million na to, nakabase siya sa prior year experience na 75% ng direct labor cost. So, ang pinapakompute lang sa atin, cost ng machinery. So, kunin natin yung materials ni machinery, 500,000. Yung kanyang direct labor, 1 million. At yung na-compute natin na overhead na 600,000. Sobra ng 0. 600,000. So, ito yung total cost of machinery. So, plus mo lang 500,000 plus 1 million plus 600,000. That would be 2,100,000. So, ayan yung sagot for requirement number or requirement letter A. Excuse me. So, next po, requirement B. Determine the cost of the machinery if manufacturing and construction activities are to be charged with overhead at the same rate. So, same rate daw sila. So, kapag ka sinabing to be charged with overhead at the same rate, magbe-base ka sa direct labor cost. So, magbe-base ka lang sa direct labor cost. Requirement letter B. So, ibig sabihin yung 3,600,000 na overhead, paghahatian ni finished goods at saka ni machinery on the basis of their direct labor cost. Kaya, ang mangyayari dyan, si finished goods, yung 3,600,000 na overhead times 4/5. Bakit 4/5? Kasi 4 million plus 1 million, that is 5 million. Tapos 4, yung kay finished goods, divide mo lang sa total na 5 million. So, 4/5 na lang. Kay machinery naman, yung 3,600,000 na overhead times 1/5. Kasi 1 million lang yung direct labor niya, tapos 5 million yung total direct labor. So, ganun kapag sinabing charge at the same rate. Magbe-base ka lang sa direct labor cost. So, ibig sabihin, ang overhead na mapupunta sa finished goods, 3,600,000 times 4/5 ay 2,880,000. Kay machinery naman, 3,600,000 times 1/5, 720,000. Ayun. So, yung kailangan natin dito, yung kay machinery. Kasi cost ni machinery ang pinapahanap. So, kopyahin ko na lang to. So, ito lang naman ang magbabago. Si materials kasi 500,000 pa din, labor 1 million pa din, tapos yung magiging overhead 720,000. So, ang total cost niya po ay 2,220,000. Ayun, so that's it. That is for problem 23-10. Tapos na din lahat ng problems na walang choices. Yung answer para sa mga multiple choice problem solving po will be posted na lang in our Google Classroom. If you have any question, you may message me via my Facebook Messenger. So, thank you and God bless po.